am back. This is going to be a different kind of video today for you guys. It's going to be Tren and my overall experiences with the compound since the first time I tried it almost 3 years ago. No, actually, 3 years ago when I was 20. So it's going to be a different style of video today. I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to run through it. My experiences, how much I've taken, side effects, if I think it's something you should take, and my current stances on it. So, yeah, I'm just sitting here thawing this ground turkey for lunch later. I just had some steel oats and some fruit. So, let's get into it. All right, let's get it started. My dog's over there. Gracie and Snoop. All right, yeah, this is just gonna be a video of me explaining Tren and overall what I think about it, my experiences. So where do we start? All right. Grab a Tren first cycle. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That probably brought some flashbacks to some of you guys. You guys are like, whoa. What's going on here? All right. So yeah. I first started PEDs when I was 19, but I did not try Tren until I was 20 years old. So about a year into my steroid journey, I came across Tren. And I did a lot of research into it, all that kind of stuff. And I really came down to the conclusion. This was the start of COVID. And I was working out. I was on a test and dianabol cycle, 6 weeks in, all the gyms shut down, whatever. And then 2 months later, gyms open up. I didn't touch any weights or work out for 2 months, and I was getting back into training. And I was thinking to myself, I was back on test and dianabol, really fluffy, nothing crazy, very moderate dosages. And I remember I heard about Tren, and I wanted, in my future, I wanted to be a bodybuilder, and I wanted to be a great bodybuilder. And I already decided that I'll do whatever it takes to get there. But at this point, I was very safe. I had a few cycles, 2 or 3 under my belt, just test dianabol, T-ball, a little Proviron, a little bit of Mastron I tried here and there, nothing crazy. And then I stumbled across Trenbolone, and I used to be on a steroid forum, Reddit steroids, and I would talk to the guys about it, and they'd be like, "It's stupid. You're too young. You're 20 years old. You're thinking of hopping on Tren. You're a idiot." And I didn't care. I didn't listen. That wasn't going to sway me. And I thought about competing in the near future, and I'm like, all right, if I want to take this to the next level, I want to, look the part. I want to have extreme, crazy results. And eventually I ordered Tren. I switched my cycle from a test dianabol to more of a test Tren and Mastron cutting cycle, since that was what people talked about. And right off the bat, I jumped straight to 500 milligrams. And I remember instantly my nipples, my nips started getting on fire. I remember that. Then I was popping AI like candy, caber, which is stupid. And instantly, at first I didn't feel anything. The first few weeks, I didn't really feel much. I got bigger, but it was the first 2 to 3 weeks, nothing really changed a whole lot, even at that dosage. And then I upped it to 800. I was like, fuck it, we're gonna go all the way with this. And I upped the dosage. I think it was 100 actually, to 700 a week. And that's when I started seeing some crazy changes. And I fell in love with Tren because of the results it was giving me, but also because how it made me feel. It made me feel very alive. It made me feel really emotional. It made me think less. It made me more impulsive. It overall made me feel like I was a super male, like Superman. And I loved that feeling. I fell in love with it. And so I ran that cycle for about 12 to 15 weeks. I see the greatest gains I've ever seen on any cycle beforehand. And yeah, I was rather pleased with it. I did get a little bit of gyno issues on it, but at that time it didn't bother me because again the gains were amazing and it wasn't a huge issue at the time. And but let me tell you, it really fucked with my personality. It made me very, very kind of a shit starter. Like I was just all over the place, messing with people, extreme sex drive, arrogance. I felt like I was God's gift to women. Okay, so yeah, it made me feel like I was just a god, and I loved that feeling. It made me feel like unhinged, and looking back at it, it was very cringy how I was acting at times. But yeah, and I noticed my emotions were harder to control. I would have those feelings of extreme confidence, but also extreme insecurity, and I would get jealous very easily, especially pertaining to women. I would get very jealous. And then I ran that cycle. I came off, went to my cruise, my TRT, whatever. And I was on my cruise for like 4 to 5 weeks. And again, this is like 2020. So this is still when COVID was in effect. People were kind of all over the place and masks were still going on, and I didn't care. And I was like, you know what? It's the perfect time to full send it, because nothing else is really going on in my life. I want to be a bodybuilder. I'm going to make it happen. And I love Tren at the time. So I ordered some more, and I literally cruised for like 4 weeks, which is really stupid. And I jumped right back on it. This time, Tren and Anthate. I started the first 4 weeks with Tren Ace, and this was a bulking cycle. And it was a long one. And let me tell you, I had so much mood swings. At times, I was so aggressive. And I felt like an animal in the gym. Like I was a 250-pound 20-year-old, full beard, okay, on a lot of Tren, a good amount. And I just loved that feeling back then. Keep in mind, I was always a rather shy, I don't want to say timid, but I was always rather sensitive as a kid. I was not someone that was popular. I was not someone that had a lot of friends, okay? So I wasn't the happiest camper, but bodybuilding made me very happy. It made me feel very strong when otherwise I felt very weak in the past. And it was new. All these gains were new. How people were treating me were new. How women were reacting towards me was new, of all ages. I was all for it, and I was a bit of a troll back then too. But yeah, the second time I ran it for 20 weeks straight. I started at 500 tests, 500 Tren, and at one point I made it up to, I think, 1,000 tests, 1,000 Tren, and I was running some Anadrol in there too. And again, guys, don't think that this is something you should do. It's not. This is something, if you're watching this is something you should not do. Because I was stupid. I was really stupid, and I did not care. Okay, so I had this mentality. I did not care about anything. And I was really reckless. And I just fell in love with it. But let me tell you, I was all over the place emotionally. I was not happy. I was very lonely. And over time, the next, 2020 to 2021-ish, early 2022, Tren was my bread and butter. It was something I really liked. I really relied on. I always looked forward to starting my new Tren cycle, even if I knew that going into it, deep in it, there was going to be some issues. I was going to make some dumb decisions. I was going to be impulsive. I was going to be reckless. there was things that I would look back and be like, I really regret doing that, or I really regret acting like that. But yet I still would be so ecstatic to start it because I knew, like, yes, life is going to be on overdrive now. And eventually it came to a point where, it was like a substance abuse thing for me. It became like I wasn't just depending on it or using it as a tool for bodybuilding. I was using it to feel good. I was using it to be someone I wasn't. I thought that I had to be strong. I thought I had to be this ideal, like this masculine type of guy that didn't show his emotions, that was never vulnerable, that was never serious, that was always sarcastic, all right, that always, threw his emotions under the rug and just kept going. No meaningful connections. I thought that wasn't what I needed. And it became a really big substance abuse issue with me because nothing made me happy. I was not a happy camper. All right. I didn't make a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of friends. I never had really anyone to talk to, at least during this time period. I didn't have a lot of people close to me to talk to. So I was always by myself. And I would go in that gym, and the gym was the only thing that kept me happy. It was the only thing that kept me going. And I looked at myself. I didn't look at myself as a human anymore. I looked at myself as a machine. It's my dog. She's drinking some water here. Gracie, come on. Go somewhere. And it made me feel very sexual. It made me feel very lustful. It made me feel very aggressive. It made me feel very superficial, very surface level. It made me feel angry. It made me feel rage. It made me feel insecurity. It made me feel a lot more than I was used to feeling. And I would think less because, more impulsive. I seen that at the time as powerful because I was someone that always thought a lot. I was an overthinker. I was shy. I might have gotten nervous really easily back then. I still do sometimes to this day. And it was essentially like a shield for me. I seen it as that. And yeah, that's how I seen it. And eventually I got exposure on TikTok when I first started. I wasn't even on Tren when I first started TikTok, but I was broke. I had no money. Nothing to my name. And I started getting some exposure. And I knew deep down, like, I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I wanted that to be my career. I just didn't think that this is how it was going to start. I didn't think TikTok was my way into this. I just picked up the camera and I'm like, I'm just going to film myself, whatever. And yeah, that became, D-Tren. My name, that's what I was known for. I would talk about it. You guys know the story. And I looked at, when I'd run Tren, I looked at it as if I was unstoppable. I would think, as long as I have this compound in my life, that I could accomplish anything. I could achieve anything. I don't need anybody. I don't need to love anyone. I don't need anyone to love me. I will reach and fulfill all my goals. So this really delusional level of thinking, which being delusional to an extent is, a good thing. It's how you manifest stuff. You want to have this, you want to set the bar high. Okay, but the bar for me wasn't even just set high. It was unrealistic. I didn't see myself as a human being. I see myself as a machine. Deep down, that's not how I was. Man, this fly is really bothering me. But yeah, and I would always come off of it and be regretful of my decisions. I'd have a come down, wouldn't be happy. And overall, it gave me issues like gyno. It made my gyno issues worse. It gave me issues with digestion and bloating. And I ran a lot of it. It kind of sounds stupid, but I would a shot at Tren in the morning was my cup of coffee. I'd wake up and have my coffee too, but my shot of Tren was like, okay, time to get my day started. Like when I go to work, I load up a milliliter. Okay, here we go. It's like it's really fucked up, but that fucking morning Tren shot was my way to go. I didn't care how much I put in the barrel, I was shooting the whole thing. And I was like, the more the better. I really had that mindset. Like, I was not joking. I was like, more the better. The more unhinged, the more gains. It wasn't even just about gains at this point. Like, it's just, I liked feeling that way. I liked being in that altered, trend out state all the time. And then I'd come off, or, you know, I would be on it and I just wouldn't be happy. And I recently tried running it like 6 months ago, and a weekend, because there was a time period where I had to come off of it in 2022. I didn't run it a lot of 2022 because, again, it started making my gynecomastia really bad, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. So I would not run it very often because I knew if I was going to run it, I would get this gyno that would keep growing no matter what, and Tren was the main thing that agitated it. So 2022, I pretty much stopped running it. I stick to other compounds like Primobolan. I tried a few other compounds with not a lot of success. They didn't have the success that replicated how Tren made me feel, or the consistency I had on Tren, because I was rather consistent with my training on Tren, not my diet. That was always shit back then. But my training was rather consistent, and my work ethic was a bit better. But I had issues. Things weren't working for me. I was trying different things, and I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace. And I eventually, got gyno surgery, and I tried it again. And I ran it for like a week, and I just dropped it. I'm like, yeah, I don't like this feeling anymore. Like, for one, it's not a compound that makes me look the best. It really makes me hold a lot of water. I know a lot of guys, they're the opposite, maybe. But with Tren, it doesn't make me look the best. At this point in my life, it doesn't. And no gyno issues, but indigestion, stomach bloating. It just made me kind of feel uncomfortable. And I noticed, again, I started getting more impulsive. I started going back into that state I used to be when I was, 21, 22, or 20. That immature kind of surface level state where I get more impulsive, or I get more lustful, or I make dumb decisions, or I don't control my emotions as well, or I'm not being true to myself, like on social media. Like, I had this idea. I always knew that I could do the right thing, that I could be a good role model to people. I always knew in the back of my mind, since I started social media, I knew it was a possibility, but I wouldn't do it. I would do the opposite, and I would feel immense shame and guilt because of that. And at times I thought I never would have dropped it. Like, I thought I would be on Tren forever. I'm like, fuck it, it's worth it. So it became a real big substance abuse issue with me. Until I just couldn't run it anymore. Until, my body was just, I didn't want to deal with gynecomastia anymore. I didn't want to deal with bloating. It's like I didn't want to put myself in that state of that feeling of living that I did when I was younger, 20, 21, when I had a lot less money. I didn't have much going for me, so I didn't know. I didn't know any better. I had no one to mentor me. This was all on my own. And now that I know more, I know who I am more, I'm more true to myself. I know how compounds affect my body. I have certain goals in mind. At this point in my life, Tren is not something I want to run or I plan on running unless I need to run it. Like, I'm prepping for a show. I'm a bodybuilder and I'm competing when I get to that point. And it is a necessity for me to run to compete with others. Then I will run it. But at this point in my life, it's not needed for me. It would be a waste. It would slow me down, at this point. And I know many people that are watching this, they remember me. They see it in a positive light. Like, man, Tren was so funny. The vibes were immaculate. He was so alpha, or whatever you want to say, right? Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you thought I was a douchebag, I was insecure, or I was unhinged and all over the place. But a lot of people associate my start to social media with positivity. But reality, I was absolutely not a happy person. I was miserable. I was angry. Anger was a main driver for me. I was very surface level. Okay, so I didn't have much faith or belief in anything besides, selfish reasons. And that's not a fun way to live. So I know people, they're gonna watch this, or they're gonna watch other creators that are seeing it, that are taking it, and think that Tren is a badass compound. It is something I need to try. Or maybe you're already running it, you've been running it, and you're in the similar mindset of me with abusing it as like a substance abuse problem. It's not what you need. It's not something what you need. It's only going to cause issues in your life. It caused me a lot of issues. Thank God nothing serious. Thank God I didn't make dumb decisions or something bad happened to me, which could have happened many times. I'm very lucky. I wouldn't even say lucky. I would just say I felt like as if someone was watching over me, But yeah, my current conclusion, like my idea on the compound now, in terms of bodybuilding, let's be realistic. As a serious, like you want to be a competitive bodybuilder in the future, or you're going to venture out into PEDs, which I do not recommend you to do unless you know for a fact it's something you want to do. This is serious stuff. It's not even needed. It's not needed. And as I've gotten more mature, more wise, I look back on my time when I was doing that, and it does make me cringe a little bit. It does make me feel some shame here and there, embarrassment, especially for my past content. But I'm kind of glad I went through it, because I'm now where I'm at now. I now know what I know now. And, Tren, at times it was very fun. It was a compound. It is a compound that can and will ruin your life. It will fuck with your head. It is not something you want to rely on. So yeah, I had my fair share of that. My name was Tren for so long. It's not. I prefer just to go by my own name. And again, I don't want that associated with me. I know that's not really my choice, right? People are going to think of me a certain way now, or they're always going to see me as that. But I guess over time, I just knew I could be a better role model. I knew I could be a better person. And I started finding myself, figuring myself out. Because once you have that cloud, like you're using a substance, you're relying on it, you could kind of lose or forget who you were, or not even know who you are, because this substance is rather your new normal, this state of mind. And for a while, that very surface level, aggressive, impulsive, whatever, just not really making smart decisions, very, very short-term thinking was who I was for a while. And it almost doesn't feel real. Like it almost feels like it was so long ago, but really it wasn't. Feels like I've had multiple ego deaths like since then, which is why people are like so, kind of surprised that I've changed. But man, I've been through a lot mentally, through hell and back. I don't know how many times. But yeah, Tren, I didn't really want to talk about PEDs as much in my current and future content, but I feel like it's something you guys needed to hear. Like, yeah, I was abusing that substance. I was relying on it. It was changing how I was thinking. It was changing how I was acting. I'd push people away. I would self-sabotage. It was not fun. I was not a happy person, even if it seemed that way. And I do regret some decisions I've made, but overall, I don't regret the entire experience. Because now I could be, I guess, a beacon of light to others that might potentially go down that road in the future, or that are already going down that road. You don't need to do that. You don't need to feel like someone you're not to be accepted. Gracie, come on. So you don't, and I felt that for the longest time, especially with social media on me. I felt like I needed to be someone, like I needed to be Superman in order to be liked, in order to be appreciated, in order to be loved. And many times on social media, when I would act more like myself, or, I would showcase a little bit more of my vulnerability, people would say, oh, we liked you better on Tren, or oh, you're not taking enough Tren, or oh, get back on Tren, you were more entertaining back then. And it really hurt seeing that. Like, it hurt me at the time seeing that, because it was like people didn't appreciate or care about me for me. They just wanted to essentially see me ruin my life. They enjoyed seeing that. And yeah, I didn't want to do that anymore. So I understand that not everyone will understand. Like they can only see so much from the outside perspective, but let me tell you, it was not fun at times. But yeah, Tren is overall, it is a nasty compound. When people say this is a compound you don't want to run, you don't want to abuse, you don't want to rely on, they are saying that to help you. They are not saying that to, oh, I'm on it, don't run it kind of deal. You know what I mean? So I'm in a much happier place now. I know I don't have the exposure when I was on that stuff and I was posting more surface level content. But to be honest, I take bodybuilding a lot more seriously now. I've made a lot better gains since dropping Tren. I look a lot better. I feel healthier. The physique looks better. I'm more in touch with myself and my emotions, and I'm happier. I'm more at peace. From you guys, you could see in my more recent videos. But yeah, that was just me opening up on Tren and my experiences with it. Played a big role in my life for the past 2.5, 3 years. And I'm glad that I moved on from it. I really am. Like, I'm glad I finally kicked it as not something that I have to rely on or feel like I have to rely on to be liked or to be an influencer. I thought if people seen how I really was, or me vulnerable or without that shield, that people wouldn't like me, that people would think I was weak, or that people would think I was, I guess not entertaining, or, beta, which I was called many times. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different from what I've made in the past, but I just want to let you guys know, like, I feel as I could offer much more to you guys, be the role model I knew I always could be. And I don't want to be too serious about it all the time. I still want to have fun and make jokes here and there, but I've been through a lot. It was really rough for me these past year, especially 2023 was rough, but I just know 2024 is going to be a really good one, and I'm going to continue to showcase my bodybuilding journey to you guys. And I love for you guys to continue to grow, to continue to make gains. And yeah, I'm honestly, first time in my life I could say that a long time, that I'm honestly happy where I'm at, and I'm happy for the future. Like, it is bright now. I could see the light in the future. Before, I could never see that. It was always clouded by darkness. And I thought that one day I'd just pass away. Like, I would not live very long. I told myself that. I'd tell people, I'd be like, I don't plan on living very long, because it was so clouded. Everything was dark. Everything was surface level. That's changed. So if you guys are in a similar scenario, just know that there is light. You just have to find it. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments how you felt about this video, if you like this style of format, or what else you would like to see. Yeah, I guess you know the drill. All right, until next time.